I'm Sreekala, and with me is Sakina. And with us is the most beautiful couple, Mr. and Mrs. Wagner, David Wagner, sir, and Sharon Wagner, ma'am. So we are so happy to see that beautiful
Yes.
couples.
A
Still, what do you
warm
say? Young
welcome
couples.
to our.
See, you can see that, what do you
Hi.
say, that love among them. See, their face still shows that smile, what do you say, a kind of, we feel happy. So we welcome both of you to our show.
We're so
Yes,
pleased to be here. Go ahead.
A warm welcome. We are so pleased to have you all and really looking forward to this episode.
So first of all, let us introduce both of them to our show. David, sir, first of all, as I wanted to say that he is a senior member in our administration. And just like what you say, at this age also too energetic.
Motivational strips.
Too energetic. Because almost all the posts are noticed by him, encouraging the writers, reading their poems, and giving valuable comments. So he is a great motivator for all of us. And here goes his bio. David Wagner is a retired shop manager and trainer. He was a CAD programmer and master mechanist and metallurgist who specialized in metal parts for extreme environments like space. He's also a writer who has appeared in numerous times in several poetry magazines, including Spillwords, Ravenzine, and won the Shakespeare Medal from Motivational Strips. So these are the honors only very few people receive. So here again, his poems have been appeared in many number of anthologies, n number of anthologies. If I want to mention, few of them are Metamorphosis, Poets Unify the World, which was from Motivational Strips, To Dance with Love, then wow, Sentibility, and The Promise of Doves, and more, much more. He has his books in Amazon. So there is a huge collection which we can see. Ma'am, can you show it once again?
Sure.
We
That's
want to
just
see
the
that
anthology.
one by one.
Amazing.
Okay.
Wow.
Sense. Wow.
Wow. Superb. Different multicolor. Superb, right?
Yes.
So colorful. Yes, true.
Mm. So even but the kind of poems what he writes is having some motivating content, inspiring content. Or maybe a few lines are very less. Even then, it's a kind of motivating poem. I think 2 days back I've read one. And Sakina, would you like to speak about our ma'am?
Yes, of course. So Sharon Wagner, ma'am, is a retired research assistant and tutor on the college level. She started winning writing awards at 12. Her articles have appeared in several educational supplementary magazines, including Jane Austen Regency World Magazine and Georgian Index. Her work has appeared in the anthology To Dads with Love. She has several books on Amazon. Sharon ma'am has done several consults and museums on displays. She won an invitation to the prestigious Smithsonian Curators Workshop. So that's the amazing bio. Short, simple, sweet, but so impactful, and it shows your whole journey, and it's amazing. We're so humbled to have you with us.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Before you joined, we people were just discussing about the COVID situations over here and there, and the technology, use of technology, how we are much more getting involved with the technology. So, ma'am was telling about sir's some kind of works which he had done in his office life, in his past life. Can you just repeat it, ma'am, that achievements what he has done regarding that information technology, the kind of inventions what he has done?
Oh, David made a little gear, and it had to operate while it was hot, half very hot and half very cold, because in space there's no atmosphere to ameliorate the sunlight. So if it's in the shade, it's incredibly cold. And if it's in the sun, it's very hot. And the steel in your car would crack under these conditions. So they have to use a special alloy. So it's just a tiny little gear, and it opened the solar panels on a communication satellite so that it would be powered. And he was making these parts to help the satellites be put up in space and be ready to go. But he never imagined he'd be using them to talk to people on the other side of the world.
So, see, this was our talk before you joined. So, this I just wanted to bring it to the audience too, because they must know that a poet has the other side of his life, a multi-talented life or work-oriented life, which also will be some kind of inspiring one. So,
Yes.
I love all such things because
I mean, writing is a passion, and there is so much other things that go on a personal level and professional level that we are not even aware of. We just coordinate as writers over here. So it's amazing to know all these stories.
yes,
Thank you.
definitely.
I'm a guy, so she had to teach me how to put emotion down on paper.
Neither of
It's a
us
rare
had
combination.
anybody to read our work till we met each other. So you can imagine, we went on a date and we talked till very late.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But the combination is very rare. Isn't it, Sakina? The combination of two
Yes,
poets.
looking at them, there is so much of love. It's I'm a Muslim, so we say mashallah when something is very beautiful, and it's like touched wood. So that's just the words that come out when I see you.
That's true. That's true. Even I have heard that word. It's just the amazing combo, amazing combination of both.
Tell them that you like training.
Sreekala, shall we listen to
Yes,
a poem?
we can listen to the poems of Wagner sir first, right?
Oh, yes, we have a poem ready.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite parts of my job was when I had the opportunity to teach somebody else how to do part of it. Somebody
Okay.
new who didn't know everything they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're gonna read a poem?
Yeah.
The journey, a fixed star of the north in a star-strewn sky. The only one to be trusted, your destination to draw nigh. Leads me to an oasis in the trackless desert. One barrier dune like another in
It's
influences on me exert. A daunting, arduous trek.
journey.
Journey without a road. Way most clear in darkness. A star before me showed.
Sakina, would you like to say something? Sakina is
I'm just
amazing.
trying to grasp.
And I-
Yes.
Sometimes
Go ahead.
sometimes that star can be a person that shows the way to go.
Yes, that's true. Very true. Very true. It is.
Very, very
Maybe sometimes in our life we may meet a star, a kind of star, kind of person who may
Yes.
show us the way to move ahead.
yeah, and light up all the darkness, So
Yeah.
absolutely.
We both enjoyed tutoring, and a lot of our students have said that we help them move on too.
Wow.
Mm.
We are getting to know much more. Like what do you say? It's a kind of bonding which is growing again. Yes, through motivational steps family we are bonded, and after this, what do you say? Our talk show. This bonding is going to be much more stronger and stronger and stronger.
Mm.
Now we would like to hear a poem from you, ma'am.
Sure. I have one ready here. Okay.
She said.
This one's called The Commission. It's about a painting that was done in the 1300s in Europe. It shows a couple and there's a chandelier overhead, and one candle is not burning, the one above the wife. So it's thought that she may have died in childbirth. So it's about this. Hands dragging me from my bed, servants shouting, come. A silent man waits, the trip through the empty streets, the room where the servants still scrub the blood from the floor, that lovely white face, Margaret's dragon on the bedpost high. My paints thrust into my hands, my device to tell the tale. 2 candles, one burning still, the other cut short and snuffed. The couple parting and together, the woman in childbirth lost, shown always with child, remains ever hopeful.
That's really sad.
Great moral. Yeah.
Yes, that just leaves us in a moment of mourning for,
Yes, yes. Quite often there actually were paintings done of people who died because the painting hadn't been done before, and you know how hard it is to let go of someone.
Really touching.
Lovely to know. Yes, it's a new concept for me, like to have a painting made of someone, you lose.
This guy was a trade representative who was up in Germany. He was with a trade firm that was down in Italy, and his wife died of childbirth while they were up there. The painting was done by a famous painter and has been analyzed quite a lot. You can look it up when we get off. It's by Jan van Eyck, and it's called the Arnold Feeney painting. And that's the last name of the trade representative, was Arnold Feeney. And
Wow.
You can see their mourning, and you just feel it as strongly as if it was yesterday, hundreds of years later.
It's a kind of a lot more information what we're getting. It's really useful for the viewers also.
Let's
Isn't it, Sakina?
on the sidewalk and become a tree.
Yes, that's a lot of knowledge. Today has been very knowledgeable and
Yes. Now who would love to recite? It's the choice between both of you, that whether ma'am would recite or sir would recite. It can be from any one of your books which you have contributed, or your own books.
Sure. 16. I don't know if you can read that. Hard for you to read right now. I'll read it. I'm going to read it. He's having a little trouble with his eyes. He had cataract surgery and he's getting scar tissue behind the lens, so he has to have laser surgery. This is
Yes.
David's poem, but I'm going to read it.
Yes.
A Life by David Wagner. He stood on the brink of his father's grave, a boy of 11, buried his school days there too, with his tall father, inherited naught but the family his dead father left, worked with the roughnecks on the tall oil rigs of Oklahoma, became a surveyor there, taught myself geometry from a paper pamphlet, from the grocery store, came home and built an empire from a horse's saddle, carried his daughter on the dappled horse under the wide sky, raised his child to be extraordinary. That girl, my dear wife. I remember him, a tall man, stepping down from a saddle to be my father in all but name. And David wrote it about my dad, his father-in-law.
His
Wow.
father-in-law. Okay, all
The
right.
way, like the teaching of geometry, the way of teaching geometry was explained in between. So yes, using small sheets of paper, how they teach the kids geometry.
It's such minute little details
Yes,
and a wonderful tribute. I mean, so much respect and
My father was on the oil rigs and they were very dangerous in those days. This is the 19 teens. And there were no rules against drugs or drink. The roughnecks would have a bucket of beer for lunch and nothing else. They'd be drunk in the afternoon. People would be injured. Surveyor came to lay a pipeline for the oil. And my dad tried out to be a helper. And he took him because he knew a little math. And he worked for the guy for a while. And he said, you know, there's a surveyor's test coming up. You could take it next year if you start studying for it. And my dad said, well, when is it? And the guy said, well, it's in 2 days. And my dad thought, I'm taking it now. So he went to the grocery store and he got a little paper pamphlet on geometry and he studied it all night, 2 nights. And he took the test and passed it and became a certified surveyor at 15 years old.
oh wow.
that's so great.
That's so inspiring. That's so inspiring. That just shows
So
like
yeah, you have to know my
it-
father was born the same year as his grandfather. And I was kind of an afterthought when it came to his kids. He had a nice family, 3 boys, each 2 years apart. Then 12 years later, oops, he had me.
That's not an oops, that's a thank you.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Actually,
so you must have been like everyone must have been so adoring you, right? Like after 3 boys, after 12 years, you must have had a amazing childhood, I must say. It must be
I
amazing.
did have really amazing childhood. I grew up on a ranch. I went to a 1-room schoolhouse, which it was one of the last left, but that's really an experience of last century. And I've done things like herd cattle and ride fence and rope, but I've also been at the Smithsonian to a curator's class. So, wow, what a wide adventure.
Oh, amazing.
so nice.
And if
Sakina,
anyone
this
ever
is the
tells
reason-
you
this is
you
the
can't,
reason-
if anyone ever tells you you can't do something, don't believe them, because I went from a 1-room schoolhouse to the finest museum in the United States.
Yes, and your dad learned geometry at the age of 15 in two nights, 2 days. I mean, that just shows that if there is a will, you put your heart and soul into it, there is nothing that cannot be achieved. So these are great examples that, should always.
Yes.
Dad was not a stupid person, but there was no such thing as life insurance in 1913, I think, when his dad died. And so he had to quit school and be the man of the house at 11 years old.
Oh,
He had younger brothers and he had a mom and they needed to be taken care of. His mom went to work at a restaurant that was on a train stop, and she made pies.
Oh,
But they needed more money than that. So Dad went to work on the oil rigs in Oklahoma, and it's a rough place to be.
that must have been very rough at that age.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That determination, we have to praise that determination, that after
Yeah.
leaving school for few years again, then study to achieve some goals in life. It's a kind of, what do you say? We have to, when there is a will, as you told, when there is a will, definitely the way, many doors are open or many ways are there in front of you. Only thing is, you must have a
Sometimes,
determination.
sometimes we see that tough situations make people just, more bolder and more stronger as well. It just works both ways. Some people become bitter, but some people find more determination.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess it's just an instance of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people that they wouldn't do anything for anybody because nobody did anything for them. But my dad used to feed our workers meals. He would feed them breakfast before they went to work. They got lunch while they were with us, and often we sent dinner home with them. Once a cowboy said, "Show me in my paycheck where you're taking out for my meals." And I said, "We don't." Dad hates to see anyone go hungry, so he gives you the meals free because he went hungry quite often when he was a kid working.
The one who has gone through some kind of pain or who has suffered that condition of being hungry, they definitely know how the other person feel when he is hungry. So this is what we call humanity. It's
Yes.
not
Yes.
what we see in certificate for only. Nowadays, it's seen in certificate, humanity, peace, so and so certificate signed. But the thing what ma'am told right now, at the age of 12, he struggled a lot and came up in his life. And later on, when he employed many people under him, giving such a food, breakfast, food, making sure that they are working peacefully without they're not working empty stomach. So it's a great thing actually, and this is what humanity is.
Yes.
Superb, ma'am. Sir, you would like to say
shall we
something?
get into-
Yes, sir, want to speak something now.
I think that you can react two ways to your life. You can be very bitter and you can say, "I'm not giving a thing that I wasn't given," or you can say, "I'm going to make the world a better place." And Dad chose to make the world a better place. He was a good person. When he died and was buried, they held the funeral at the largest church in town, and it was completely full, and the lawn was completely full, and people were standing in the streets. And a guy came up to me afterwards, and he said, "I came from Texas for this funeral," which is quite a ways away. It's a state much south of Kansas. And he said, "I was one of the boys that your dad trained during the Depression. And the skills he gave me, I've worked with all my life. He taught me carpentry, and I'm a builder. And I came because I had to come to remember him because he helped me so much." So he also, just after he was out of the Army in 1929, we had a severe depression here. And they did a thing where they gave the kids a job. They called it the Conservation Corps. They built parks, they planted trees. But in the evening, you could take a class because they weren't getting apprenticeships from businesses, right? And Dad taught cement, finishing, and carpentry in those classes. And many of those boys came to his funeral. So there were literally 3,000 people at my father's funeral.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
great to hear all this.
a person can say to themselves and others, "I have so much to do.
Mhm.
I've got work, I've got family. I don't have time to help people, or you can say helping people is important. I'll make room for,
It's completely depending upon the mentality, how part we want to choose. As Madam told, there are two ways: leave it as it is, or take a turn that yes, I can change the world.
I can make
So,
things better.
I can make some changes to the world. So, it's completely depending upon you how you want to
And
see
even
others.
as writers, I suppose, like even if we can't do something physically, to write about positivity, to somehow read someone with our words, you know, there is a power in the pen to do that, like from where you are, to make
Mm,
things better for someone reading. You can make
mm,
someone sad smile, someone
mm.
who's really losing have a little hope. So that is a great thing about the pen as well. Even if you are not physically going out there and doing it,
yeah.
to do it through the words. Yes. Ma'am, we would love to listen to another poem from you.
Oh, okay.
Some truck stopped out there on Horton.
Oh, did it?
You can kind of see it if you look out that way.
I'm not finding one in that one. Let me do this one. Okay. Okay, this is one by David again. I'll read it since the print's kind of small. When Ashaka saw 100,000 dead and turned away from war, the doves must have been very near. His kingdom found great plenty under peace, but the peace came from one life without peer. When those World War I soldiers did what politicians would not and made a Christmas peace, too bad they did not end the war. Wings of doves flying so near, but they just accepted their lot. They dare not imagine being their own leaders. Even in war, these people found peace. Surely we can set peace as a goal worth effort without cease. Our children deserve more than just a promise of doves.
Super, super, lovely one.
And
Sir,
so beautiful excited.
yes, sir. Now one more poem from your end.
Oh.
Yes, Sharon ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. I've got one here, maybe. A patchwork quilt. A quilt cut and stitched by family long ago, packed in a trunk in a covered wagon, covered the settle where she talked to her beau, packed in cedar chips, traveled again, covered my great-grandmother's wedding bed, wrapped her first son in a prairie sod house, kneeled on by many a bride as vows were said, lovely quilt under my knee as I became a spouse. The blocks are each cut from their cloth and sewn with love. the frames ironed, cut, and pieced into determination, blessed by many couples' wedding prayers to above. The quilt traveled with our family as we built a nation.
Again, an amazing one. What do you say? Worth multiple reading multiple times, isn't it, Sakina? The
Yes.
the poems whichever she has read, it carries one or the other morals, which we can take some what do you
Many
say, lessons
dimensions.
for our life.
Yes,
Uh,
a lot of
so
dimensions to the whole.
Thank you.
I will definitely be going on to Sharon ma'am's, David sir's poetry and reading more of it and trying to, analyze it a bit. Yes.
mhm. Yes, so let's all the audience, thank you for listening to us through the whole program, and thank you David sir and Sharon ma'am for being with us. Thank you so
Yes,
much,
thank you so
Sakina.
much. Yes, it's been an amazing experience. So much we learned and lovely, lovely time. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Have a good day, everybody. Good night to those on the other side of the world.
Thank you so much.